Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Have you ever felt joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment, or positive emotions and life satisfaction? Why or why not? This is Wood and Ash, and welcome to Mental Policing. Okay, looks like I got the audio right this time on the first go round. If not, let me know in the chat, anybody. Otherwise, here we go. So, like I said, this is Wood and Nash. Welcome to Mental Policing. From the intro, I talked about joy, satisfaction, contentment, fulfillment, positive emotion, life satisfaction. 15 years ago, a day that I longed for finally arrived. I had hoped that I would be a father, and just a little over 15 years ago, that happened. It wasn't conventional. It was real, and by conventional, I mean it was an adoption, so it wasn't a biological child of mine. Nonetheless, we adopted her from the moment she was born in the hospital and brought her home. So I felt a joy and a happiness that I'd never felt prior to that day. And I suppose you could say that I got addicted because I added 6 more to the mix. I've had similar feelings throughout my life for different reasons, a variety of reasons. And when everything in the world seems whenever I feel this, everything in the world seems to stop. Nothing matters, and I'm in that moment alone. My time in that moment are the only thing that matter. And I wonder why, in those moments, I ever let anything negative or unhappy enter my world. But I do, we do, and we allow it. It's our choice, and we continually let negativity dictate our happiness. Just a few reasons why we might allow this to enter without even knowing that we do it. First, we neglect ourselves. We allow our physical and our mental health slide. We don't take care of ourselves as we should, and this tells people around us that we need more outside influence to help us make decisions. We allow people to nag us about this because we must not love ourselves enough to do it alone. So we allow others to dictate what we think and how we feel about ourselves. Second, we ask for help even though we don't need it. Maybe it's fear of rejection or fear of being alone, but if we continually allow ourselves to depend on others to get things done, then we lose sight of how we are actually in control of our own happiness. If somebody's always dictating what we do, we never make those choices for ourselves, and therefore we lose that happiness. Third, we choose to remain silent. We don't stand up for ourselves, and we don't speak up when we should. Therefore, we allow other people to do it for us. If we have other people decide what we want to say and how to say it, then we forget what we want and what we want to fight for. We let others control our happiness by word. There's a time and a place that we should stand up for ourselves. And if we don't, others will. And then they can say when we should and shouldn't be happy. If someone does or says something and it makes you angry or upset, and you hold the grudge, sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. This is about allowing people to control our happiness. If we allow people to control our happiness, then we're not free. We don't have actual freedom if somebody controls us. That makes sense. But when you say in the context of happiness, it takes you a second. So we're hung up on what they do or say, and we don't allow ourselves to be free of their control. For example, if someone does or says something and it makes you angry, upset, and you hold a grudge, who is the one that's actually upset? If someone does something to you and you react negatively, chances are that person will carry on about their life and never give a second thought about you holding that grudge. Holding grudges builds on anger. It has no place in happiness. So if you've ever thought about, if you hold a grudge and if you're holding a grudge, if you've ever really thought about it, who's the one unhappy?
Definitely not the other person.
Or, I'm sorry, who's the one that's not happy? Definitely not the other person, because they don't care. They don't probably know you hold that grudge.
Any idea.
And then X amount of years down the road, you say, well, I've been holding this grudge, and they don't know. They don't care. So by holding a grudge, it only hurts you. Let's see. Don't be afraid to speak up, but equally, don't be afraid to let it go. You have the choice to do so, and in that choice is your happiness. How often do we get into arguments or fights with somebody just for the mere fact that they oppose what we say? Ultimately, it doesn't matter, because then we get angry, or that's where that grudge is born, and so we won't let that go.
Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion.
Yes, and we need to choose, right or wrong sometimes, to walk away because it's not helping us. And all of this is very applicable in the police world. Too often, guys and gals get hung up on what was said to them or how somebody reacted to them. They allow another person to strip their happiness when most of the time it's just projection, and that person themselves is unhappy. And don't allow them to win this fight. We go on calls and people will attack you, they berate you, but remember, they're probably dealing with you at the lowest point in their life. So they may not have anything to do with you, and chances are it doesn't. But if you allow them to get into you and take away your happiness, then they've won that fight, even if they didn't mean to. Inside our own department, so internally, this can happen as well, and it does way too often. We choose to let others' decisions and ideas influence how we feel. We might feel that if we trash talk that person or somehow sabotage their success, that we'll feel better. And while that might be the case momentarily, ultimately, it's going to make us unhappy and miserable. No matter, we can't tear someone down to build ourselves up and have that being a lasting effect. So if we build others up, it will also build us up and make us happier. It affects you if something affects you directly, obviously deal with it because it's affecting you directly. If it's something that somebody does to you personally, deal with it. If it can be ignored, though, do so. Chances are that's a bigger win if you can ignore it. And if it merits a discussion, and you have it, and it ends, end it there. Don't carry it around. Just let it end.
I'm going to offer 10 elements of finding your own happiness. I read an article, lifehacks.org. Don't put your happiness in anyone else's hands. It's yours. The next one, don't feel responsible for everyone else's happiness.
This happens a lot with people, especially if you are not or if you're an empath or a codependent. You feel like it's your responsibility to make everybody happy when it's not.
But what if bringing happiness to other people puts happiness in your own body?
Well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I think what that's more saying is that you go out, you set your happiness aside to make somebody else happy.
I see. The responsibility part of it.
Right.
Okay.
Like if I do an act of service for somebody and it makes them happy, that's going to make me feel good.
That's true.
But if I see that somebody's maybe having a bad stretch of days or something, and I continually go out of my way to make them happy, and it's making me miserable in the wake of it, then that's not what it's
bad idea.
For.
The next one, find what makes you feel alive. So
many things.
Yes, yeah. Family, Your kids, your animals,
Outdoors.
outdoors,
Rocks.
exercise.
Animals. Like, did you say animals? I don't know. You have your
Can't remember.
therapy animals sitting on you. So.
Don't feel guilty for seeking your own happiness.
That's a big one, and along the same lines of the ones, some of the stuff that I was saying, don't feel guilty for your own happiness. If it takes a conscious effort to want to be happy for yourself, and oftentimes, because we're always taught, be of service of others, help other people,
Put
do
other
good.
people before yourself.
Yes. And when you start to actually try and be free of the burden of everyone else, you have to put yourself first. And so you will feel guilty for putting yourself first. But if you're not right in your own mind, in your own world, then you're not helping anybody, because the further you tear yourself down, the less you can provide that happiness for somebody else.
It's the feeling you have to fill your cup first before you can fill someone else's cup.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that first.
Yes.
Put your oxygen mask on first.
Yes. The airplane mask. Don't feel guilty for not being happy. In the same way that you can beat yourself up for seeking happiness, you can also give yourself guilt for not being able to achieve happiness. Yes, happiness is something you can create, or something you can in some ways create, but it has taken some of the greatest people their entire lives to find it.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen tomorrow.
No.
And it's okay to have down days. It's normal. Everybody has down days. Some down weeks or months. But try to pick yourself up, because you're only hurting yourself. But it's okay to have down days.
Yes. What I like to do is, because of this job, there's a lot of negativity that surrounds it, from dealing with calls and going and seeing tragic things and events and all of that. I try and hang on to the happy moments and use those to fuel me to the next happy moment. It doesn't mean that I'm happy all of the time, because a lot of times I do feel down and I'm upset, or I've seen something tragic, or I've talked about it before. If you go back and listen, like the death of a child, whether it be mine, which it hasn't, thank goodness, but somebody else's, somebody close to me, or someone I don't even know, the death of a child is a tragic and it's a horrible thing. However, we deal with children a lot in the job, and children aren't always dying or getting hurt. They do a lot of great things.
Good moments.
They write you letters. They're happy to see you. They get excited. They feel safe. All of those things. So I put those in my happy pocket, and when I need them, I take one out, and I remember that in those times that it's harder.
You need it the most. Acceptance is the key to happiness. You cannot be happy with any situation that you are not accepting of. So
Right.
the secret of happiness in many situations and seasons of life is merely acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
While we can change a lot in life, there are some things that we cannot move or solve. And that's okay too. You just have to accept it and move on. Letting go, like you were talking about.
Yes.
Consider what's worth giving up your own happiness for. Consider what's worth giving up your own happiness for. So for every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness, according to Ralph Emerson.
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Yeah.
Yes.
Consider what's worth giving up your own happiness for. So there might be times that we have to be angry, or that we're sad, or we're upset, and maybe they merit it. Maybe, lecturing your kids isn't a happy moment, but it's a necessary discussion to have with them to make sure that they're on the right path. So that'll be worth it. Holding a grudge against a coworker or somebody that you feel has wronged you, probably not worth it.
There's a quote on this article. It says, it's a 5-minute rule. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, then don't waste 5 minutes worrying about it.
Exactly.
I like that.
There was a quote similar. on the other podcast that I do, and it was said and I think it was Muhammad Ali said, if you're the same person that you 5 years from now, if you're the same person that you are today, then you wasted 5 years of your life. And a lot of that has to do with your happiness. If you sat and wallowed for 5 years, you've wasted that 5 years. So find the happiness and move on. Be a better person.
See it in your mind that you will be happy. So if you see it, it will be.
Yes. Fake it till you make it.
Yes. I love that.
That's very true. When there's a saying in Spanish that it's, if you're down, smile and fake it, because eventually the smile will become permanent. That's a poor translation, but basically that's what it is. And the more you smile, the more you project that happiness, the more your mind believes that you are. And then eventually you will be. And so it's up to you to put that in your head and put your thoughts in the right place and your mind in the right place.
There's a really good TED Talk on faking it till you make it that we should post in the week.
Okay.
So everybody can watch it. It's really good.
I'm going to leave that one up to you.
Oh, boy. Stop comparing yourself to others. Oh, I am so
Get
bad
off
at this.
Instagram. Get off Facebook.
I'm so bad.
Though you're probably watching us on Instagram or Facebook
Just
or
stay on
YouTube
it
or
for a
Twitch or
moment.
whatever. You stay here for now and compare yourself. Just kidding. I wish people posted more of their real life instead of their glam life, because it has such a negative effect on so many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, life is not happy all the time, and it's not easy all the time,
No.
and it's not pretty all the time.
Way
We
too
don't
many Joneses now.
We don't have way too many.
I can't keep up with everybody.
Yeah, there's too many. Not everybody has perfect homes or clean homes or organized homes, and I am constantly having to be reminded and remind myself that I have to stop comparing, and it's okay that we live here, or life is messy.
Yep.
Life is messy.
Yeah, if you want to see, just check any of our posts that we put up there.
Yeah.
It's always a mess.
The last one is find something to be grateful for every day. Gratitude and happiness go hand in hand. So my mom always tells me in those moments that I'm the lowest, she says, make a list of all the things you're grateful for right now in this moment. And that helps pull me out of whatever hole I'm in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a nice reality check of all the things that are going right, as opposed to everything that you think that is going wrong.
Yeah. And sometimes there are days that it's hard to find that.
Oh, totally. Yes.
But if you take a moment and you look for it, you'll find it. And you'll be.
It will help.
Did you only have 10?
That's all. Didn't I
Okay.
say that? Yeah, I think
I
it
don't
was just 10.
remember.
Yep.
I got hooked.
Give me more.
So I'll wrap it up with this. And I do like this quote. So whether it be at home, work, or play, happiness is a choice, not a result. Nothing will make you happy until you decide to be happy. So this is Wood.
And Ash.
And this is Mental Policing. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye. Bye.
I just ended it for the audio version only. If there's anybody out there that wants to comment anything, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, in the next few seconds while I get things together, Jaron loves me.
Oh, I love Jaron.
Yeah, but he loves me.
Oh.
It's you. I just assume it's you because I saw it first.
I love Jaron. Thank you, Brianne, for being our sound check.
Yep.
We're very...
Well,
We love
I
that.
have to squint to read, so I don't have my glasses on.
Nicole. Thanks, Nicole. We love you too.
Anyway,
This is my
I'm going to put up for... Oh, it's not on the Instagrams, but those... I don't even see... Well, people watch the Instagram. There. If you want to support a young entrepreneur, go to Instagram.com/AddieBands Yep, those rings. Those are just an example. Hey, Lainey. Hey, Halim. Thanks for
Hi.
checking in with us. And yeah, if you want to support a local entrepreneur, she's tagged in the description on the Facebook and YouTube description. And then on the Instagram, if you're there, just go to her Instagram page. So anyway, pretty easy. If there's anything, a lot of these topics, for those of you that are still sticking around and listening, a lot of our topics come from the people that listen and send us messages, emails, and anything. If there's any topics that you guys would like us to discuss, cover, or you think would be interesting to hear Ashley talk about, then send those in, and we'd be more than happy to discuss them and from our own point of view.
Also, if they've been discussed before and you want a part 2 and you want it to continue, or you have more questions about something we've already talked about, don't hesitate to ask. We can always go over something again too. Yeah. And do a part 2.
I know I went over PTSD as far as it was from my perspective and how I dealt with PTSD, but it's been mentioned to me twice since then to talk about EMDR, I think is what it is.
Oh, yes.
And hopefully soon we will have somebody on to discuss that a little bit better because I don't quite understand it. My phone died. So stay tuned for that. And the bonus episodes that we put out, we don't do them live. We just put the audio out because we want you to also listen over there. But they also post on Facebook. So if you're watching over here, you can also catch the audio only on the Facebook podcast. So anyway.
Yes.
I think that about covers everything. Again, sorry we're late, but not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We're going to be this time pretty much every time. So, because we have children that like fighting Monday nights for whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
Pick a random Wednesday and they're in bed by 7:30.
Yeah,
Mondays,
true.
10 p.m.
Real life. Real life is messy.
So, anyway, we hate to leave you guys, but we're tired. We got up early. We had a rough night last night with babies, and she was rough again tonight.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Teething. Could you imagine if adults had a third set of teeth that come in and how miserable men would be when they started getting their teeth in?
Oh, gosh, anybody.
No. What would they say? Man colds? It'd be like another man cold. They got a fever because they had like new canines coming in. My teeth hurt so bad.
My teeth hurt so
I'd take a week off for every tooth. As long as the tooth fairy came.
I get.
Okay, guys, we're going to stop.
All right.
We're delirious. So. Send us your emails and comments and stuff, guys. And
thank you for hanging out.
Yeah. See you guys.
Bye.